You are listening to the Gritty Podcast, where we talk about all things gritty. All right, folks, welcome to the Gritty Podcast. I am Brian Call. I'm joined by Brad Hunt. We're going to talk a little bit about our diet, health right now. We just got back from a hunt. Talk about inflammation, recovery, all that kind of stuff. I'm on my second or third sparkling water spindrift right now. I'll tell you, this is the grapefruit. This has more flavor now that I'm like 100 days into the carnivore diet than it ever had before. Mm-hmm. It's like, whoa, this is juicy. Yeah. It's got some, and before it had no appeal at all. You're like, how can people
I wouldn't say that.
It has very little. I will say I do drink a lot of sparkling water now that I am on this carnivore diet. It's kind of a refreshing little treat, but let's talk about it. I've been doing the carnivore diet since early February. Yep. Which puts me over 100 days on the diet. So I'm in my 4th month.
March 1st was my start.
And I think Ryan's in his 5th month.
Yeah.
So he's like a month ahead of me on the diet. So he'll be closing in on 6 months of only eating meat.
Yep. Or animal-based.
Yeah. I would say what my diet looks like right now, for those that are asking, it's bacon, it's eggs, it's butter, some bone broth, steak, beef steak, a lot of beef steak. Yep. Some bear meat, a little bit of elk and deer, some fish. But it's basically, it's meat, folks. It's meat and butter.
A lot of eggs.
Yep. And eggs.
I eat a lot of eggs. I take a lot of I'll make a lot of brisket, and I take up, I'll cut those really fatty pieces, all that fat. One, I'll render it down to cook steak or whatever in, and butter. But 2, I'll also take those big pieces of fat and I'll cut them up and I'll put them in a pan and render them, and then I'll just eat those fat chunks too. Yeah. They come off, salt them up.
I mean, if it comes off an animal, we're eating it. Yep. That's kind of we have pork rinds that we eat here and there. Yep. If you want like a chip kind of snack.
I used to, early on, just because it was cheap, I used to get like a big pork loin. I would cook that pork loin. It was good, but I found myself, I didn't feel as good eating the pork loin as I did eating like beef. And so I'm not really eating that much pork other than lots of bacon. I eat tons of bacon. And I'll do sausage as well. I do a lot of sausage. I don't do the pork loin anymore.
I feel the best on New York strip and with a couple ribeyes, here and there during the week.
So I do quite a bit of ribeye. I'll find them cheap. There's like 3 really good markets around my house that have good meat. So I always go in there a couple times a week. Costco sometimes has deals. I'll go in there and I'll pick up like the reduced price ribeyes, but then I'll take a chuck cut and it'll be a whole chuck. Yeah. And I'll peel that apart and make my own steaks out of that. And it's like $5 a pound.
I'll do a chuck and I'll throw it in a crock pot and just it's a greasy pile of meat.
Yeah, see, I take a whole one and I'll break those fat strips, those different muscle tissues. I'll break them down. I'll cut my own steaks, cut the fat off that I don't want. That's not just hard fat, doesn't cook well. Yeah. And then that way it's cheaper. I'm still getting a really good steak, like a chuck steak that doesn't have any of that hard fat on it. And it costs me like $5 to maybe $6 a pound for that.
It's all seasoned with salt. Basically, you're throwing Celtic salt on there, pink Himalayan, various salts, and then I'll have Element or some other like electrolyte, like it's just salt. Again, mix in some water, and other than that, I mean that's kind of it every day. It's pretty simple.
I do because I've found myself to be. And I don't know why I've been this way my entire life. Like I've always been someone who is prone to cramping or cramp-like symptoms. And so I found myself on this particular diet that I've had to increase my salt intake, but I'll just take like Celtic salt and I'll just throw like a handful of it 2 or 3 times a day and I just stick it underneath my tongue. And for some reason that seems to do away with any type of cramping that I get at all.
Hey everybody, if you like the show and you want to support us, head on over to Mountain Ops if you're in need of a new merino hoodie or you want some workout clothes, or you just want a little pick-me-up, I like the Mountain Ops Ignite, especially like the pink lemonade flavor. It's a good one. I recommend that. Head on over to Mountain Ops, use the code GRITTY. You're going to save, and it's going to help us keep bringing you the show. Thanks for tuning in. Now, let's get back to the show. I found that the first, 60 days or so that I did need a lot of salt.
Yep.
A lot. And that I had low energy and lethargic a little bit. And I had times where, but later, now that I'm this far in, I don't seem to need or crave as much salt as I did.
Yeah. Yep.
And I think there's just, your body adapts to the electrolyte balance that you're achieving now under this new diet. But that's kind of the diet. Now, let's talk about, when we went hunting, basically we brought bacon and eggs and we had steaks and we ate bear meat and we basically ate the same thing we eat all the time.
Yeah, exactly.
And on this particular hunt, we didn't have to backpack in super far at times, so we didn't have much for dehydrated food.
Yeah, or freeze-dried.
Yep. It was pretty easy to base camp.
Yep.
And the next trip is going to be similar. Ryan has gone out for 2 or 3 days, and it's basically just thin. It's basically freeze-dried steaks that are thin cut.
I've got, I don't know, I probably got maybe a week's worth of steaks done through the freeze dryer. And so all I'm doing is just like thinly slicing the steak cut, cross grain, thinly slicing it, laying it out in the freeze dryer, freeze drying that, and then it's rehydrates really well.
Yeah.
You're taking a full steak. You can obviously freeze dry a full steak, but it doesn't rehydrate as well for us on the mountain.
One of the things that people were wondering was, okay, how's your exercise and your energy and your hiking ability and how are your muscles and your body performing, no sugar, no carbs kind of thing. Like, how are you dealing with it? Honestly, I forget that I'm even on carnivore.
Exactly.
Like, I don't even know any.
I'll tell you what, I would say early on, like I was in shape when it came to March 1st. Like I try and stay in shape all year, backpacking with the heavy pack, whatever it may be, running, playing ball. But there would still be a period where like I'd be sore if I went and did something super hard and I haven't been prepping for that. Yeah. I'd be sore 5-6 days, like pretty sore. I'm finding myself that I might be sore the next morning I wake up, but then I'm not sore anymore. Like the blood flow, I don't know what it is.
Couple of things. One of the major factors is the lack of inflammation.
Yes, absolutely.
Everything we did, which was, very physical, steep, heavy loads, lots of miles hiked,
going through nasty brush and
bushwhacking.
Yep.
No problem. Like when I am sore the next morning, I was telling you this.
Yeah.
It's strange because I'll be stiff when I wake up.
Yeah.
Within 30 minutes or so of moving around and being awake, the stiffness is gone.
I swear all the inflammation
just clears out.
Leaves the body.
It's a odd thing. So the soreness just isn't persistent. The healing of my body seems remarkably faster. Yeah. I don't feel as old.
I'll tell you,
I have energy. I don't get brain fog.
Yeah.
Like there's no I never got to where I'm like, gosh, Brad, I'm beat, and this just doesn't. It seems like I'm younger.
Yeah, I will say early on, probably the 2 week to 3.5 week period of doing the elimination carnivore diet. Because what you're doing is eliminating all the other foods. I will say there was that period for about a week, 10 days that, man, like every day was a struggle to get up, to have motivation, everything. Like it was hard. But I think as your body is just healing and doing something new, once that went away, it was like, nope, every day now it's like I'm up, there's energy. I haven't experienced that after about that 3 week mark.
I did notice, like most hunts, that toward the end, that many days in the field, that much exertion.
Yep.
Toward the end, I'm often voraciously hungry. Like I've depleted my body.
Yeah.
You know, you can only eat so much. And
Exactly.
I've really, it's like you run a marathon. You depleted your body. And the urge to smash calories, chips, pizza, whatever.
Right.
That is the only time I felt it. It was, you know, like the 3 or 4 days post, and I was tired, and I could tell I craved calories.
Yep.
But I also was stiff from, you know, a lot of exertion and monumental activity.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I don't want to deal with inflammation. I don't want to mess with my gut by consuming, you know, trash and calories, cheap calories. So I'm just going to ride out the diet, you know, and see. I was hungry, super hungry when I got home, but I couldn't eat that much, you know. So it was like a few eggs in the morning and one steak.
Really?
And, you know, and so it left me wanting to consume just sugar or calories for a few days. But I slowly got back up to 2-3 pounds of meat a day, some eggs, bacon, steaks. And now it's been 3 or 4 days. 4 days. We've been home 5 days. And I am feeling all the energy, sleeping really well.
Yep.
And I have no other like real cravings at all. And the thing about it is I feel super strong.
Yeah.
I feel super flexible. I feel super mobile. I feel really energized. My brain is like quick.
Yeah.
My motivation is strong. Testosterone kind of levels feel good. Like, and I think if I had years ago in the past eaten ice cream, like 4 ice creams with Livesey at a truck stop and stacks of pancakes and all this mass calorie intake post hunt that you typically do.
Absolutely.
I've never felt this recovered this quickly.
Yeah.
Because I think I undermine all that recovery. Like, it's like I didn't go. Within 3 or 4 days, my body feels like dialed.
Yep. I will say, I have to confess, there was one evening, this was like, I don't know, a couple months ago or whatever, a month and a half ago, I played in a giant, like a long 3-day basketball tournament. The day that we won the championship, by the way, the day we won, I did go get a soft serve ice cream. But I'll tell you what, I ate that and I almost got sick. And like before that was like, dude, I'd pound that and it was no problem.
You know, a few people have mentioned that if you go carnivore and you never have a vegetable, or you never have a this or a that ever.
Yep.
That, you know, when you do need something like that, it can make you feel pretty crappy.
Yep.
And one of the recommendations has been, you know, once every couple of months, just eat a meal.
Yep.
You know, something or more or less. And for me, that's sushi. Because I was a missionary in Japan. I love Japanese food, but, you know, some salmon, tuna, all that's carnivore.
Yeah.
You know, all those things. But then, you know, getting a little bit of white rice, soy sauce, whatever, to go along with a little bit of sashimi. That's kind of my little bit of indulgent. And maybe you got some nori and some seaweed and some avocado with some cucumber kind of mixed in on some Alaskan rolls or something like that.
Yep.
Boom. That's it. Once every 6 weeks or 2 months. And I will say, just experimenting with that, when I have eaten that, which isn't much, you can feel the insulin load.
Yeah. So like what I noticed is, one, in my stomach, I felt sick, but two, like right after eating that, and I didn't eat a cone, I just ate the ice cream itself. But even after eating just that soft serve ice cream, it was like, it wasn't 20 minutes. And I was like, dude, I want to take a nap. I didn't know if it was because I just got done playing a 3-day basketball tournament.
I just feel like I need a nap and I feel tired.
Yeah.
That's pretty much what I felt. I don't really feel any other effects. My brain is foggier and I feel tired and it's kind of sluggish. I didn't notice a tremendous level of swelling or anything like that. And I don't think you would from a little bit of white rice.
No, I don't think so.
Cucumber, whatever. But my gut feels pretty healthy.
Yep.
I never have gas. I never fart. I'm never bloated.
That is one thing I absolutely noticed with you. and myself too, is like there's very, very little gas.
Yeah.
Very little.
The volume on the stool is small too. There's
correct.
very little. It must be that the food is fairly dense and nutritious. The body utilizes most of it because the waste that's produced isn't much.
Small, and again, I think it's
my gut has to be happier. It's not bloated.
Yeah, there's no gas, and I think if you're having a bunch of gas, like your gut's not happy.
Yeah,
I truly feel that way, especially
now that I've experienced this diet.
Yes.
I feel that way.
Yep, exactly.
But I just feel like with my hands and my overall body,
yep.
I've
been over the last couple of months, I've been writing down like every time I think of something or notice something that's different. So I have like a little list here. Mm-hmm. And so like one of the first things I noticed about probably 10 to 12 days in was my fingernails. So for as long as I can remember, especially on doing a bunch of backcountry hunts and stuff, I've always had to take biotin. I've always had to take it. If I don't, my fingernails will split. They'll break. I'll grab them on a backpack or something, and in the middle of a hunt, and my fingernail will break and split. Been that way my entire life. I am not taking any other supplement, no vitamins, nothing.
Yeah.
And I have not experienced that at all.
That's another thing that's worth mentioning. I haven't taken any calcium, no chondroitin, I'm not taking any glucosamine.
I was on about 12,000 milligrams of vitamin C every day. Mm-hmm. Dr. Hockey had me on a while ago. Mm-hmm. I haven't taken any of that. Now, I will probably in the next week or maybe 2 weeks, I'll go get my blood work done again.
I'm getting mine done too.
Just to see where it was at?
Yeah, I feel like, I don't know. I was experimenting with trying to get as much vitamins and stuff and nutrition out of the food I'm eating, opposed to, taking some vitamins.
Yep.
Now, I'm going to get my blood work done just out of curiosity, being more than 100 days in, to see where am I on all the vitamins and minerals and stuff. Because, I was traditionally thinking, you need a certain amount of broccoli and kale and spinach and things like that for these vitamins, and you need milk and you need this and you need that, and you need these phytonutrients and micronutrients and all this kind of stuff. And I'm not so sure, because here I am and I am not experiencing the need for vitamins.
Yep. The one thing
it's like it comes out of the meat and the fat and the animal.
Yep. One thing I kind of tested, I did. So like when I first started, I didn't do like any dairy whatsoever. I didn't do cheese. I didn't do milk or whatever. And then I went about probably 4 weeks in, I started supplementing in. I would eat cheese and I would eat or drink like raw milk.
Yeah.
At a place in town that we get raw milk. And I did that for about 2 weeks, and then I went off a week. I didn't see any difference. Like some people will notice like mucus and stuff like that if they get on dairy, or they'll have issues. They'll maybe break out acne or whatever. I didn't experience any of that, so I do quite regularly. I'll eat quite a bit of cheese, and I'll drink quite a bit of like raw milk. I haven't noticed.
I have no problem with raw milk, a little bit of hard cheese.
Yep.
Aged hard cheese.
Yep.
And
a lot of butter.
A lot of butter.
Yep.
I think the butter is super important for how I feel.
Yeah.
If I don't get enough butter in.
Yeah. I mean, I'm doing like every morning I'll do a butter latte. So, and like sometimes I even throw in a raw egg in that, like the egg white, I'll throw in a butter latte, or like at night, I don't know why, for some reason, bone broth makes me tired. So I will drink bone broth at the end of every night. I'll have like at least one cup of warm bone broth.
Yeah.
To kind of wind down. But again, butter throughout the day. Like butter on all my steaks, butter on my eggs. I cook my everything in butter, or like a beef tallow.
Yeah.
I'll do a lot.
But energy wise, like if I do a bunch of sprinting sort of intense wads or something like that, I could see that you're going to be burning through glycogen, which is the sugar stored in the muscle tissue, at a rate faster than your body can create it and restore it, because it's got to take the fat and the protein and stuff and convert it into glycogen.
Yep.
And that could be an issue if we were doing the sort of activity that.
But I mean, I've been running anywhere from 3 to 5, 6 miles a day.
Basketball?
No, just going on a run. Been doing that. Been trying to push myself.
But I wouldn't say that that's a sprint. That's a run.
I mean, I'm doing sub 6.5 minute miles.
Still not a sprint.
Correct, but 3 to 5 miles at least, if not 6 miles. Subs like 6.5 minute mile for the whole thing. And then I have been playing ball quite a bit, off and on. And
now basketball, I could see that's going to tap into that.
Right. And that's what I'm kind of seeing is like, I don't feel like I need any other caloric intake. I really haven't experienced it.
Well, if anything, because I did this type of diet, 8 or 9 years ago, and I was pretty religious with it for like 60 days.
Yep.
And
I did it for 30.
And what I had found was, and I was doing CrossFit 3 on, 3 off, 3 on, 3 off. And I was going hardcore into CrossFit, competing in local events and stuff for fun with everybody at the gym. In that mode, going that hard, I found I just didn't perform well without eating some carbohydrate post workout each day.
Yep. And I will say the same thing. Like I think it was 2018, early 2019. I did probably between 30 and 45 days of pretty much a carnivore. I wasn't eating near as many eggs as I am now. But I was playing minimum basketball. I was playing pretty high level, 3 days a week in the morning, and then a minimum of 3 times a week at night. So I was playing like six days of basketball, 6 times of basketball, pretty hard.
Yeah.
And I found myself that every other day I started supplementing in white rice, and mostly like a sweet potato. It was kind of like meat and sweet potato is what I always did. Now, as I look back at then, I wasn't eating near as much fat either. I was eating pretty lean meat, steaks, like a lot of elk steaks, deer steaks. That was mostly my diet. So I don't think I was getting enough of the fats itself to keep that energy up. So that's where the sweet potato and the rice came in, even some broccoli and stuff like that. Broccoli and Brussels sprouts, but it was mostly white rice and sweet potato is what I ate. No brown sugar or anything like that, just a sweet potato, butter and salt. And that's what I needed to feel like I was getting enough calories to have the energy that I needed. Right now, I'm not. I think between all the fat, the butter that I am eating, I really don't feel like I need. And it could be, we could see. If I did something like CrossFit where I'm throwing heavy weight around, I'm not doing that right now. I need more caloric intake. I don't know.
It's not caloric intake. It's
like carbohydrates. Correct. Yeah. Sorry. Carbohydrates.
It's simply the stored sugar in the muscle tissue for a specific energy system that you tap into. But if you don't ever use that energy system in your exercise protocols, then you're never burning through it. Right. Yep. And so, and your body can produce its own glycogen and restore that energy source in the muscle tissue. Yep. It's just a matter of, are you depleting it at a rate faster than the body can replace it without carbohydrate intake? Yeah. That's the question.
Exactly.
And I just don't think we're doing anything remotely active enough in that exercise modality to burn through our glycogen.
Probably.
And so in that case, because we just did this massive hunt and we're nowhere near.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
No real fatigue muscle, like no need for carbs in any way that I could detect.
Yeah. Right.
Performance is solid.
Yep.
In fact, it's just like endless amounts of endurance energy. Like just go, and go.
Yeah, I felt, like I said, I've been running quite a bit, a lot, and I've been pushing hard.
Yeah,
then I'm rucking.
It's like the performance is fine. The real issue is after 10 hours of being on your feet and hiking and climbing and you go to bed, you wake up, your feet, are they cramping?
Yeah.
And if they're cramping a little bit, or whatever, any of that kind of stuff, and you wake up the next day and you're like, pretty well recovered. It's like, this is different.
Yeah. Oh, it is too.
This is effective. And again, I was just saying, man, the energy levels and the recovery and the lack of soreness, the inflammation is so low right now.
Yeah. Oh,
that I'm just feeling younger.
Yeah. Like I've noticed it because I don't complain that much, but I've talked to you guys quite a bit about my knee being an issue. Like it's been 16 years since the last surgery. The meniscus is still clicking, but all inflammation is out of my knee. Yeah. Like it hasn't been hurting hardly at all. Where the end of last year, I didn't know if I was going to be able to even start going through the spring season.
The eating is getting a little boring, but I've never been the kind of person that really cares that much. Like, I talk to people, hey, aren't you bored of eating the same thing? It's like, well, it tastes good every time I eat it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm not like...
I mean, I do a lot of, like, my kids love burgers. So I'll make a lot of burgers. I'll add bacon on top of that.
Yeah, but we're mixing in like chicken wings, briskets, bratwursts. There's just so many tasty meat options to throw together. At first I thought, if I don't get to season it, I will say this, brisket with just salt on it isn't hitting for me. Hey, if you like our show and you want to support us, you can do that by shopping at Stealthy Hunter. Great partner of ours. They sell rifle covers, which we use on every single hunt. They sell glassing pads. They sell supplements. They got CBD gummies, other products over there. Check it out. Make sure you use the code GRITTY. And now, back to the show. I prefer pork belly over brisket.
Really?
And so do my kids. Now, it could be I just haven't mastered the cooking yet.
Yeah.
You're going to need to bring some brisket over.
I'll bring some brisket over.
If it tastes just like mine, then I'm going to be like, yeah, it's just not that good.
I like founder on the brisket. I'm just like, oh, yeah, it's so good. Come off like
pork belly.
You don't want to squish your brisket because you're going to lose all the juice. But I'm like proud when I'm done cooking that brisket. It's just like, it's so moist and juicy.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I don't know. It's not like your brisket that has like all that sugary barbecue sauce smeared all over with all the fat. Yeah. It's a little bit rich and I'm not that interested in it.
Yeah. One thing I'll say that I noticed a dramatic change in was my teeth, the plaque buildup or anything like that. Yeah. Like at the end of every day, as you brush your teeth in the morning, but then as you go throughout the day, it's like non-existent.
It's not just your teeth; it's your tongue and your mouth, and
I haven't ever been like somebody that gets a white tongue. I haven't really ever had the white tongue. I talked to my wife about this. She's a hygienist. I talked with her about it a lot. But I have pretty crooked teeth on my bottom, and I'll always get like build up food, whatever it may be, and some plaque build up there. It's not there. Like it's my wife.
Yeah, I think that is sort of a microcosm or example of your stomach.
I think so too.
Whatever's happening in your mouth,
I think so too.
The buildup and the nasty, whatever, is probably doing worse internally.
Correct.
And where my mouth is so clean, there's no buildup. The stool, like I said, is minimal. There's no gas. There's no bloating. Energy is higher. There's no swelling. There's recovery. It just seems like. It body just feels 1,000% better.
Yep. And I believe it to be true, and I could be totally wrong, but I feel like, listen to people talk and different doctors and specialists and stuff, not specialists, but whatever. When you have a healthy gut and a healthy mouth, then the rest of your body is healthy.
Pretty good.
Yep.
Yeah. No, I think it's like anything though. I mean, when I overdo it and exercise and overexert and the body gets depleted and stuff, I'm waiting for something to fall apart. In general, though, that has not happened.
Yeah.
One thing that I've been plagued with my whole life, I've had cold sores. I got them like when I was born. And I've had prescriptions at times. They'll break out on my lip,
Yep.
And I've had that since birth. And my mom had it, and then I got it. It's just like your normal, not your like genital,
right?
Just your normal like cold sore type,
low case.
And I was on various, like you'd have a flare up.
Yep.
You get stressed, you get overwhelmed. The sun comes out, you get burned. I'd overexercise, I get dehydrated. And it was getting to a point there for a couple of years where it seemed like I had to take prescription Valtrex like it would happen like once every 90 days. And I was like, dang it, man, I feel a cold sore coming on, and then I'd take it.
Yep.
And then it would go away, right away, and then it would come back, and it would go away, and it would come back, and it would go away. And it got to a point where there was a few like grueling hunts, and we just just pushed it really hard. Bodies physically hiking,
Stressed
climbing,
out.
and not getting much sleep, an all night hike, and so on. And then boom, got one. Or stress. I'd get some stress with life of some kind, business, wife, kids, whatever it is. Boom, it would come. We started carnivore. I think I'm 115, 20 days or something in, or whatever it is. I have not had a cold sore since. Not one.
Yeah.
Hasn't even come close. Haven't felt the inkling of one.
Yep.
What does that mean?
Right. I mean, I don't know, because
because they were plaguing me for a minute there.
Right.
And now gone. It's got to be, it's an immune system issue. You know that. That I was getting frustrated. I was also getting sick every now and then.
Yep.
Since post-COVID, where I'm like, man, I'm feeling sick again.
Yeah.
And then I'd have to back off on exercise. It's just not happening. I'm not feeling any sort of, my immune system just seems to be so much stronger than it's been in years.
Yeah.
It just feels like I'm with what we just did and where we've gone and some of the grueling, like even in Mexico and some of the desert stuff, I pulled some all-nighters.
Yeah.
A few of them. That was almost a guarantee for a cold sore breakout. And gone.
Yeah.
Gone. So
I don't know.
Tracking this, and I'll get my blood work done here really soon, but so far, and I'm not saying I'm going to do this till I die.
Right. Well, I think it all comes down to,
I'm waiting for the downside to pop up.
And again, I think any elimination type diet, you're going to figure out the benefits, the pros, the cons, or whatever. But what I am finding versus like people that have gone like the other route of full vegan diet or whatever, or vegetarian, was like the nutritional values that you're getting out of the carnivore diet. Like, there's no other supplementation has been needed.
We'll find out when we get our blood work done and stuff. Like, that'll give us more data instead of just how we feel.
True. Man, I expect a pretty good representation of how I feel.
I didn't go down this road lightly, and neither did Ryan and Hillary and so on. And the MDs, doctors, and experts, and even athletes,
right,
that have been going down this road, and some for a decade,
right,
some for 5 years.
5 years.
Their blood work trends in the right direction.
Correct.
Across the board, not the wrong direction. Yep. The more they've done it, the more it got better, and they felt stronger, leaner, and are living better.
That's the main reason I'm so many days behind you guys, is because, as Ryan was talking about it, as we were in Mexico and stuff, like we kind of did it down there, all of us just eating the same stuff. You started it. I didn't, because, I was unsure. And so I literally did the same thing, listened to all of Chafee's podcasts, listened to Bella from the Steak and Butter gal. Sean Baker. Sean Baker's been doing it for a long time, and he's a freak of nature right now. He's a beast, and he's crushing it. And so it took me a long time to do this, because I was doing my own research, trying to find my own stuff. And man, I'm happy as my body has felt really good. And I haven't felt this way since early years of college.
I'll tell you this too, with my shirt off, I haven't looked this good since a decade.
Right.
Yep. Without effort.
Yep.
My wife is like, dang, what is how much weight have you lost? Like, what's going on? And it's like, from where I was before to where I currently ride, I'm like 3 pounds. She's like, 3 pounds though, in the exact perfect spots.
Yep.
Like your belly and the fat layers. Like, she's like, you look so healthy and fit. And that's one thing. I haven't lost muscle.
No,
I haven't lost. What weight I've lost is just visceral fat. I think
so
mostly. That's
me. I
always had a paunch and had a little bit bloated.
And I kind of the same way too, but not as bad. Obviously, I'm 15 years younger, but it's like I started this at 193. I think I'm sitting at 187, 185, 187 right now. but jumping, running, I'm explosive, dude. Like,
Yeah.
I feel
I
so
started out
good.
195 and I'm 191,
Yep.
92. I mean, you're talking 3 or 4 pounds.
Right.
At a max.
Yep.
But given all the activities, and I feel like there's often times where we don't eat that much.
Yeah.
And then we catch up a little bit later.
I don't know. I eat a lot.
Yeah, Brad does eat a lot.
I eat
Brad's
a lot.
eating endlessly.
Right.
But what I'm saying is, it's not like there's a ton of, I don't know. It's really easy because I just eat when I'm hungry.
Yeah.
And I just eat what I want and then I stop.
One thing I noticed was, so that weight that I did lose was all within the first 3 weeks. And then since that, I've maintained where I'm at.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I guess that's what I'm trying to say is, homeostasis with my body weight and muscle mass and all that.
Yep.
It just, without effort,
Mm-hmm.
it's just perfect.
What I was going to say and add to that was, before with carbs and sugar and stuff like that, I was bad about this. I mean, I was eating pretty healthy, but I found myself like, I always, no matter what, was going to continue to eat. Like, something was there, I was going to eat it, and I could just pile it in. Where I'm finding myself now, like, if I do have a buffet of meats and stuff to eat, I'll eat whatever. And then it's like, there's a point where it's like, nope, no more. Like, you are full. You're not going to intake anymore.
We did that when we were hunting. We'd cook some meat,
Yep.
And I have once it gets late and I'm tired, I can't, I'm not hungry.
Yeah.
I'm just gone. So I gotta eat, morning, afternoon, early evening. Like, I like to eat early.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like to eat late at night. I don't like to eat just before we go to bed. In fact, I can't. Like, so Brad would cook up some big ribeye, and he'd cook 2 ribeyes, and I'd get halfway through it, and I'm like, I can't eat it. Just literally each a bite of it just made me want to like spit it out.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, yeah, and you're smashing, as much food as you can.
I brought my own snacks on this trip. Brian didn't bring that many. I brought like some extra jerky, like some chomp sticks and stuff like that. They're just the salted ones or whatever. And so I'd like pound the steak and then I'd go eat like 2 more chomps and some cheese or whatever. Yeah. And I don't know.
Not for me.
Yeah.
So, but morning, afternoon, late afternoon.
Yep.
I love, like, I don't necessarily, the one thing about being on the carnivore diet is you're not a slave to hunger. You're not a slave to eating. Mm-mm. If I need to, I can just not eat at all.
Yeah.
And I feel I don't have this blood sugar type crap.
Right.
This lack of drive, energy. I feel like I can eat or not eat. They're fairly indifferent on that.
Exactly.
And in fact, we ran out of food the last 2 days of the hunt, and we were like, well, we're out of food. But we killed a bear.
Yep. So
we just fried up some bear meat and we ate bear meat for a couple of days. It was like, who cares? It's no different than our normal diet.
Nope.
And there was no lack of energy, even though the one day before we got the bear chopped up and cooked it, I pretty much fasted the whole day.
Yeah.
Again, I'm not, it doesn't impact my performance.
Nope.
I'm like, yeah, energy is like copious amounts of energy. It's a very, very, it just feels more right at home and natural than how I've been eating my whole life.
Yeah.
Just in the terms of how good I feel. Food is not something that makes me feel sick or ill or crummy or bloated or groggy or tired. Like the way I eat now, it just feels like energy.
Yeah, exactly. Energy. And I just ate something that's going to sustain my body.
I'm not saying it's magical. I mean, you still get sore. You still have things that are going on. And again, blood work will help confirm some of our anecdotal experiences. I assume we'll find out. But all in all, especially for older people or people struggling with weight and I mean, to say to yourself, okay, from now on, I'm only going to eat animal products and to execute on that. And in the beginning, I think that's the important thing. My wife has lost a ton of weight. She's looking great too.
Yep.
She still throws in a lot of other things that I wouldn't throw in there, kind of Paul Saladino style or whatever. But it's still almost like my diet.
Yeah.
And she just continues to lose weight and get fitter and feel better.
Yeah.
So there's something to it, you know. I've gone through these various stages in my life where I went from the standard American diet, Men's Health, you know, kind of.
Yep. Lots of grains.
Whole grains and all this stuff, fresh squeezed orange juice, fruits and veggies, you know, to the whole paleo thing where it's mostly meat and vegetables, definitely more ketogenic with lots of vegetable matter, you know.
Yep.
And that moved me again in a better direction. Got rid of all of the grains pretty much, and went with just veggies and fruits and whole food kind of diet. A lot of meat, but looking back, not enough animal fat.
Yeah.
Just not enough animal fat. All that steak and elk and deer I was eating every day, multiple meals a day was great, but it was too lean.
Yeah.
There just wasn't enough fat.
Yeah.
Thankfully, I consumed and have always consumed massive quantities of butter.
Yeah.
Like my whole, from
Same
everyone
here.
who ever knows me or has seen me, I'm eating a cube or two a day.
Same here.
It just felt right.
Yep.
And I loved it. But, you know, looking at where I'm at right now, you know, it's just one more step in fine tuning the food I consume to most benefit my body.
Mm-hmm.
And it does seem that the full removal of vegetables and fruits has actually, because that was really the last part of this, because I always ate meat, and then increasing the animal fat intake, more eggs, more butter, more fatty steaks, and then no vegetables, no fruits.
Yep.
It's like, wow, what I felt at each stage, shifting from one diet to the next, it's like, boom, like you just climbed another rung on that pinnacle of ladder of fitness, you know, and it didn't come any too soon, because I'm feeling, you know, I was feeling the soreness and the tendency to get a little bit sick, the bloatedness, just a little bit of stuff where I wasn't as recovering as quickly, mostly the brain fog.
Mm-hmm.
That was the number one for Ryan and I both.
Absolutely.
Our sharpness, our minds.
Yeah, I've noticed it, especially with you doing podcasts or working on whatever we're working on, and it's like the brain fog is gone. It is gone.
Yeah,
and the gas is gone. I noticed the gas is gone.
That's what's so odd about that is gas has been my thing my whole life.
Tell you what, so we just got done driving 15 hours, one direction, and in the past, it would be like there'd be a lot of passing that gas. There was not one on this trip.
Not one. It just doesn't happen.
Doesn't happen. Hiking the mountain.
A strange. Yeah, it was always like you're farting on the guy right behind you as you're climbing the hill and stuff.
Yep.
And
doesn't happen.
It's just not there.
It's gone.
That's got to be a sign of wellness.
Yep.
It feels like
so. Like,
a sign of wellness. Gas doesn't make me feel good.
As I was studying, you know, the carnivore, the animal base and stuff. I mean, there are some studies out there that they were taking like 70, 75-year-old people that had dementia or Alzheimer's or whatever, and they put them on a strict carnivore type diet. And within weeks, I'm talking like 3 to 5 weeks, they were having normal conversation, hanging out.
That's what I'm trying to say to, like,
I don't know,
even my dad, you know, and people that are getting older.
Mm-hmm.
You want to feel young again?
Yeah.
I'm telling you, I feel like try this carnivore thing. I think, especially those that have metabolic derangement syndrome of any kind, be it diabetes, heart disease, you know,
high cholesterol,
epilepsy, any of these sorts of issues that people, especially when it comes to the brain stuff like Alzheimer's or dementia.
Yep. Try
this whole animal-based diet, and it's hard for me now to believe that it won't change your life.
I know. I've had this conversation with my mom a lot because my grandpa is not doing that well.
It's tough
He's
to
been
watch.
in and out of the hospital.
I know. It's tough to see people where you're like, if you had the discipline and you could execute, you could be a whole different.
I wish, like, it may not work. I don't know, but I would like to see. Okay, let's do this for 2 weeks straight.
Yeah.
And in those 2 weeks, just let's do a comparison of apples to apples
Mm-hmm.
and to see where he's at, because he's not doing great. He's in and out of the hospital. He's dementia.
I heard Charles Barkley on a show the other day, and he's talking to Moses Malone, and he's like, Charles, you're fat. In the first year he was out there, he's like, why am I not playing and getting more done? He's like, well, because you're fat.
Yep.
He's like, you need to lose like 60 pounds. He didn't say that.
Right.
He said, you're fat and you need to lose weight. And he's like, I'll help you lose weight. Let's just lose 10 pounds.
Yeah.
Let's just lose 10 pounds. So Charles went and he lost 10 pounds. And then Moses was like, hey, let's lose 10 more.
Yeah.
No, he lost 10 more. And he's like, why not just use now you're 280 from 300.
Yep.
Let's lose more.
Let's get you down to 240, 250.
And so he ended up getting down to 240 or 230, I think he said.
Yeah, I think it was sub 240.
And he said he didn't feel good at that point. It was too skinny, and he got back up to 250, and he found out that 250 pounds was his perfect weight for both energy and performance. And he was a beast in that period of time.
Yep.
But he said, had Moses Malone said, hey, we got to get you to lose 60 pounds. He'd have just been like, I can't, it's just, let's quit. Let's not even try.
Yep.
But he's like, he did it the smart way. He talked me into just 10 pounds.
And then 10 more.
But once I got 10, I was like, I could do 10 more. And once I got 20 down, I was like, well, I could do 10 more.
Yep.
And it was like little bit by little bit. If you're going to go and do something like the carnivore diet or paleo or whatever, if you're going to go attempt this carnivore thing, and it's a dramatic departure from what you've been doing your whole life, set up just a realistic, incremental process for yourself.
Yeah. And I will say, my wife, for example, I think Suzanne's the same way. I'm the type of person where I'm like, all of a sudden it was like, okay, I'm doing the carnivore. It was like day one.
Doing it.
Started
Same here.
Done. There's no this, whatever. I just did it.
There's no plan.
My wife's like, no, I need, I like this food. I like that. There's a lot of more planning.
Yeah.
I think
a lot of people will do better that way.
Yep.
It's just like, pick that thing. Say, okay, I'm going to eliminate these things for now. Then I'm going to remove all of these things and these things until you get to that diet that you're going for.
Yep.
Some people just need it to be a little bit at a time.
And I think probably number one would be just cutting out the sugars. Probably still eat the vegetables, probably still eat the meats, the whatever, but just little stages, incremental stages to where you want to
I do think there's a physiological event happening process that you are contending with when you're if you go and listen to Chafee talk about why calorie restriction diets don't work, your sort of Weight Watchers diet setup does not work because it's a form of starvation. Calorie restriction is starvation. You're taking fewer calories than the body needs, and so the body then has to burn some fat. But your body, look at us. We didn't do any calorie restriction at all. We just changed the fuel that we're putting in it.
Yep.
And so we never had to go hungry. It's like eat as much meat and fat as you want.
Exactly.
And over time, what happens is you feel satiated and your body does burn away that stuff that it doesn't need.
Yep.
Hey folks, if you are sleeping on the Go Hunt Insider membership, you're missing out. I used to be one of those guys. With the membership, you're going to get access to the Go Hunt maps. You're going to get access to their research tool and to a vast library of video content that'll help you find more tags, find better hunt areas. It's all in that one membership. It's $150 a year. When you use the code GRITTY, though, you save, and it helps us keep making this show. We do get paid every time you buy a membership, but also, I'll say this, I'd recommend it whether I was paid or not. So go check it out. It's the Go Hunt Insider membership. Good luck this season, and now let's get back to the show. You become efficient at fat burning, for one, because that's what your body lives off of. And there's just this remarkable equilibrium of weight that's achieved without effort.
Yep.
It's just a natural biomechanical, biological process. And so it sets you up for a much better rate of success. I talk to some dudes that are my age that are 50, 60 pounds overweight and their eyes are half lidded constantly and they have no energy and they talk to me and they have no sex drive and they're weak. And it's like, if you just went straight carnivore, did that for a year, I'm telling you, man, Your whole body would change.
I see it with buddies of mine that are 35.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, dude, like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
You know? But
Ryan's 50. I'll be 50 in a few months.
Yep. Ryan will be 51 and you'll turn 50.
Yeah.
Levisay will be almost 60.
Levisay needs an intervention program.
He does need an intervention program. He's half on, half off.
Yeah. He's
just so damn mentally tough. Like
Levisay is, what do you call it? He is, he's either all in or not.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so he's sporadic. Like, when he wants to, he's like, switch is turned on, done.
Yeah. It's funny because my buddy Rhett, that been working with Rhett for a while and doing stuff. He owns Soul Energy, so when he came to the Bear tour with us, and Ryan challenged him, do 90 days of the carnivore. So Rhett's like, hey, I'm going to do 90 days. Well, he's in about the same amount I am. He's lost like 20 some pounds. He's a big dude. I mean, he's 6'3", played college tight end or whatever, and he's a big dude, but he's lost like over 20 pounds. And he's like, dude, I got abs that are popping out of like, I don't know where they came from.
Mine too. Like,
he's a 24-year-old single dude.
Yeah,
but he's like, one, I'm going to do 90 days just to prove Ryan that I can do 90 days.
Right.
But he's like, I'm seeing, that was his driving point. But he's like, as I talked to him last night, he was like, dude, I'm seeing some massive benefits, energy, clarity. Yeah. He's got like 6 businesses going on right now.
Yeah.
But I was going to, before we close it out, there's a couple things that I want to recommend people to follow because as I've dove into this, like on Instagram, if you're worried about recipes, I started following, it's Courtney Luna. I'll put it in the description field, but she has all these carnivore diet recipes for different stuff. So if you get bored with just the basic foods, she's really good about that. And there's this other guy named Carnivore Ray. He's lost like 60 or 70, 80 pounds on the carnivore, been on it over a year now, or almost a year. And he's been fun to watch, just, diving into. And then obviously Chafee, Dr. Chafee's great to listen to follow. And then Bella from the, on YouTube, the Steak and Butter gal. She has a lot of great stuff, but I love that, it's Courtney Luna.
Courtney Luna.
Yep. COURTNEYLUNA.
Yeah.
And she has some great recipes. Been kind of helping my wife do more of the carnivore type stuff with these other simple recipes. So,
yeah, I think how you feel on chicken and pork versus, let's say, beef and deer or whatever, like you kind of fine tune those things, but that is not the bull. Like, don't even worry about that stuff.
No,
just if it's an animal product, milk, cheese, egg, whatever, start there.
If you still like yogurt,
and be free to yogurt, like all that stuff, be free to like just stick to the animal based stuff.
Yep.
Start there.
It's
a good start.
Yep. Yeah, there was another one I was listening to a podcast the other night. I can't remember her name and I won't search. I couldn't find it searching it, but she was talking about, she's like, I haven't done any weights. She's been on the carnivore for almost 2 years now. She's like, I haven't lifted, haven't been to the gym. She's not doing anything really. Just, she's physically active, gardening or not gardening, but outside work or whatever. And she's lost like 30 some pounds and all her, like she was always pretty fit, but she was just on the bigger end. She's like 5'11". She's a taller lady. Yeah.
She
always had cellulite and stuff in her, like her quads and her glutes and stuff like that. And all that cellulite is gone. And what the cellulite is insulin storage.
Yeah, I've heard some things on that lately, trying to guess what it is.
Yeah.
But I have been hearing that some of the folks who have done carnivore has burned through the cellulite fat or made it go away or something like that.
Yeah, and that's where she has. She's like the belly fat. She's had 3 or 4
Somebody
kids.
else said that some other theory was that it was the storage of toxic oils and fats. Like,
could be.
They're not the sort of fats we should be consuming.
Yep.
And
body's not breaking it down.
And so it is sort of like your trans fat situation. And these are just anecdotal. I haven't even looked into it. I don't really care. I don't have any cellulite.
Right.
But a lot of women do. But it does seem to be a whole. There's also the people saying that you don't get sunburned if you're on carnivore.
Tell you what, I went on a bear hunt with my oldest son, my dad, and my wife, and 3/4 of the day, I mean, it was like 60 degrees. 3/4 of the day we were hiking in snow, and my wife was fried.
I know, but then that we read some articles where it was like,
I know.
some
And then
guys
they
are like, it's a myth.
it's a myth.
You still burn.
But man, I should have been fried, and I was not.
But I don't know. I mean, the way that I feel about I don't get the cold sores. I don't get sick. We've been out in the sun, and I felt nothing. So I do think that there is an inflammation process that's occurring.
Yeah.
You know, from the burning sun.
Mm-hmm.
And I can say that I'm much more resilient against inflammation right now. My body's a lot more equipped at handling all things that cause me to swell.
And that's
or
what
be
this
sore.
lady was saying, is like her cellulite in her legs and her buttocks and
Interesting.
And her belly. She's like, the cellulite is gone.
Yeah. I think Sean Baker is a great resource. I like Anthony Chafee a lot. Steak and Butter Gal. There's a few others.
Yep.
I've started there. There's plenty of content to go through on those resources. But yeah, it's worth looking into. We're feeling great. We'll keep everybody posted.
Yep.
But that's it for the podcast. I hope you're finding it useful. Again, like the backcountry meals thing, it's not that complicated.
Nope.
It's
I got lots
freeze dried eggs,
lots of eggs
bacon and sausage.
Yep.
It's
I've even bought
sliced steak,
some done butter, because
it's basically the same thing we eat every day.
basically everything
Just
we
freeze
get-
drying it in the Harvest Right freeze dryer.
Yep, exactly.
That's it.
That's it.
It hasn't been that
Nope. Jerky
complicated.
to whatever.
Cheese.
Cheese.
All right, folks. Thanks for tuning in. Catch you on the next episode. Stay gritty.